So as we continue with our build for David Durbin, I ran across a situation where I needed to make I guess a tool, if you want to call it that. Because I had this very expensive $2 HO gauge scale rule, I decided that I needed to make another one. So this is what I did. I took a piece of the scrap that I cut off of the for sale signs, and as you can see, I have them marked off in 10 and 15 foot increments, and I'll show you why I did that in a couple of minutes. But before we do that, I want to show you what progress I've made on the building itself. So let me get the camera resituated, and we'll go over what I've done so far. Okay guys, as you can see, I have all the main walls up, and as you can see here in the front, that there'll be a peaked roof, and the main structure will have a flat roof. Let me turn this around a little bit so you guys can see what's going on here. Yeah, it's kind of flimsy right now because it's only taped together, and I always do this to see how things are going to work out. Let me put the box cars in front of the doors, and you'll see that it'll work out. Put one there and another there. But like I told you guys in the beginning of this video, I had no clue as to how I was going to build this. So anyhow, I am going to be making another little modification because the wall is so tall right there, and even though it's going to have windows and doors and everything, it still looks way too big. So I am going to do a little bit of a modification to it, if you want to call it that. Anyhow, stand by and I'll show you what my modification is going to be. Alright, so the reason why I made this scale rule, if you want to call it that, and it is increments of 15 foot increments, is because I want to add these pilasters, and I think that's what they're called. And if you guys that are in construction would know better what they are, then let me know. Anyhow, to make it aesthetically pleasing, as you can see right here, I have a lot more room than I have on this side here. So in actuality, I am going to cut this down to 20 inches or 120 scale feet. Because I'm doing this, I have to do my windows. Let me lower this down a bit. And that should be good right there. Because I'm doing, oops, sorry about that. Let me get you back up there. Sorry about the camera. And because I'm doing this modification with these pilasters, all the drawings I did with my windows and doors have to be modified. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the doors over just a bit, and these are not going to be the color of the doors. It's just for demonstration. So I need to move them over a bit, and they won't be exactly 50 feet center to center. Just a bit more, but that's okay because some places do have doors that are a little bit further apart. The people door here is going to be moved over, and all the windows will be also adjusted. And this will be done on both sides and the back wall. The building is, like I said, going to be 120 scale feet long, and let me see, I don't know, it's 8 inches wide. But as far as scale feet goes, we are going to be 60 scale feet wide. And we also are about 40 feet tall. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and get on with this, rearrange the windows and doors, and then I'll start adding these pilasters on there, give it a second coat of primer, and then the final paint job will be textured. And I'm not quite sure what color I'm going to make the building. David likes yellow, but I think this building is way too big to be yellow. But we'll see how it goes from there. So stay tuned, and I'll be back as soon as I make some more adjustments. I also guess I should tell you what product I'm going to be using for these pilasters. It's going to be another Evergreen product, number 189, and it's 125 thousandths by 250 thousandths. And I want to thank Ralph Greenwood for supplying me with the Evergreen products. He's been supporting me with the Evergreen products for quite a while now, and I thought I'd just give him a shout out. Anyhow, take a look at Ralph's channel. He's entering the jacs switching contest. Anyhow, like I said, let me get on with this and we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so we're back. Now I've already cut this down to the 120 scale feet, and that measurement is from the back of the office, which you see right here, to the end of the building. Now I need to mark out my 20-foot increments. This is how wide apart I'm going to put those, and everything should be aesthetically pleasing to your eye. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and mark out those 20-foot marks, and then rearrange my doors and windows, and we'll see how it goes from there. So let me get on with that part of the project. Alright guys, I'm ready to start marking out the places where the pilasters need to go. I also went ahead and taped my work down to my glass table because it's a little bit flatter than the wood that I've been working on. And these will be at 20-foot increments, and I also intend to put a loading platform down here. So these pilasters will go to the top of the loading dock. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and start doing this. Again, I'm using my triangle, or I call it a square, and we'll go ahead and mark out all of this stuff. And then we'll get my chopper and we'll chop these down to the correct size. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and do this, and we'll make sure everything is square and straight so it doesn't look like a total idiot put this together. That was just a little joke, fellas. But anyhow, we'll go ahead and do this. And I'm going all the way to the bottom just in case I do not decide to put the loading platform. But if I do decide to put the loading platform there, then these will be cut down to the correct size. Trying to get this as accurate as I can. Most of the buildings here in Arizona are either tip-ups, concrete tip-ups, or metal siding or some such thing. There's hardly any brick industries here in Arizona, and I know this is not going to Arizona, this is going to Arkansas, but I decided to do it this way, and I think I mentioned that it's going to get a textured finish to make it look like stucco. Should be here. And like I said, these are at 20-foot increments, which I think is a pretty good guesstimation of what they should be. And then the final one would be here. Okay, so now that those are all drawn in, as you can see, at this end is a 10-foot space, and now since I cut it down, at this end is a 10-foot space. So it'll be a little bit more pleasing to your eye. And it looks like I just have to move this door over this way a little bit, and I need to move this window over this way and this window over this way. Anyhow, I'll go ahead and do that stuff, and we'll continue from there. So stay tuned and we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so we're back. And as you can see, I have all my pilasters cut down to the proper size. I have my doors centered between the pilasters. I have my windows centered between the pilasters and my people door. Now all I need to do is the other side and then the back wall. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and get on with this project and do the other wall. Then I'm going to start cutting out some holes and making this building come to life. So stay tuned and we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I know you guys are saying that these pilasters look like they're way oversized, but in actuality, as you can see, it's just under 1.5 feet. Width-wise and depth-wise, it's just about maybe 6 to 8 inches. So for a building this size, I think it's proper to have pilasters of this size. And then if I was doing an interior on this, there would be coordinating I-beams on the inside to kind of complete the structure. But anyhow, since I'm not doing an interior, I'm not going to worry about that. And by the way, these doors are not the color that they're going to be. I just did that as a visual so you guys can get an idea of what it's going to look like. Okay, on to the next part. Alright guys, one other little detail that I'm going to do is when I went to my hobby shop to pick up the doors and windows for this, I couldn't find the proper door that I wanted. This happens to be a wooden door, and I don't think a wooden door would be proper on this build. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 5/1000 piece of styrene and I'm going to put it in there and make it look like a steel door. Anyhow, it's just a minor detail, but I think it's worth doing. There's only going to be a few doors on this build, so it's only going to take me a couple minutes to do that. Anyhow, I just thought I'd let you guys know that little secret right there. So anyhow, like I said earlier, let me get on to the next part of this project. Be back in a few. So now I have the other main wall completed, or not completed, but on its way to be completed. And as you can see right here, I'm going to put another loading dock here. There's going to be 4 bays for trucks. Again, I did the door the same way, putting a little sheet of plastic in there to make it look like a steel door, and we'll get 3 windows on this side also. Now, the next part is right there. The next 3 pieces are sanded, clean, and ready to be primed, and I'll be doing that, and then I'll be able to take care of the back wall with the pilasters. Anyhow, let me get out to my garage and give those a squirt with some paint, and we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so when I do a build, I usually leave it on my workbench for a day or 2, and every time I pass by it, I look at it and see if it looks good to me. Well, I decided I'm going to make a change. This guy right here, to me, just didn't look right. Just overwhelms the side of that building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that out, and I'm going to use this here 177 styrene strip, which is 100 thousandths by 156 thousandths, which will match up with the corner brackets that I'm going to put on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo all of them that I have done already. Plastic is not going to be wasted. I could use it for something else. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and put these guys on here, which I think will look a lot better. Anyhow, let me get on with that project, and then we'll continue on with this build. Alright guys, this is the final position of all the parts that I'm going to be putting on this. As you notice, I did change the pilasters. All the windows are in place. Front wall here is going to have 3 smaller windows, and then right here will be the office. And I'm not too happy about this this door entrance to the office. It looks too old for this project. Anyhow, 2 train loading doors, and in the back there'll be 4 truck loading doors, and right here on the side there'll be a smaller truck loading door. All my people doors are in place. So for all of that being said, this is going to be the final part of part 2. The next part will be cutting out all the windows, cutting out the doors, and getting everything else ready to be painted and assembled. And then I still have the silos to do. Anyhow, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video. And as always, your questions, comments, inputs, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all folks. BNSF 6951 out.